So, welcome back, guys. So this time we're going to do some best of Redditor updates and Am I the Asshole? This is specifically for Amelia. Are you okay, dude? Took a little bit of a tumble.
If you saw the setup, you would be. It's like if you saw what it looks like, you would be like, "This is gonna fall apart at any moment."
Dude, when I first started my podcast, I was using a cell phone, and like I had the worst, cheapest headphones. They were so bad that like one of my very first fans from Japan sent me some headphones so that they could upgrade the quality of my sound. They're like, I love your podcast, but girl, your audio is awful. Let me send you some help. So I get it. I really get it. I've been there.
You should see what I'm holding this up.
It's like like you know those like those old fashioned like dinner like tables that you eat dinner on in front of the TV.
I actually got a table. I actually got a table this time, but I was originally using like 3 TV trays to have the laptop in one place, the keyboard in the next, and then the camera on the third. So
and this is how you know it's black folks because it's like duct tape and a printer.
I had a gaming setup, TV trays. I had like a 6-tray formation, like it was a throne. I would have 2 TV tray armrest.
But hey, you got a desk. You got your desk, bro. I'm proud of you.
I finally got a desk. Yeah, it was like 7 months of TV trays. See, and my mom was like, "What are we going to do?" I was like, "You better look after yourself. You got a lap."
Dude, that one TV thing you brought to my apartment when I moved out, they're like, we got to give this back to Noob, and I was like, nah, he's got more than enough.
I still need that back though.
It's somewhere. I don't even know where it is, dude. There's like 15 in your house, dude. I don't know. Yeah. But hey, this is Reddit times, man. What's going down?
So, the first one, the first one originally was in relationship advice. And it was during the first of lockdown, for some context. With all that's going on, we stocked up on supplies, including some canned goods. I ordered them a few weeks ago. In total, 30 cans of beans, 10 are black beans, 10 are kidney beans, and 10 are pink beans. Also, I ordered 15 cans of chickpeas. I thought this is a reasonable amount of beans, so they'll last us quite some time. However, my girlfriend told me she buried all the beans in the woods. At first, I thought she was joking, but she explained no, she buried them in the woods. Like, what the fuck? I asked her to explain herself, and she told me she was afraid that if things got bad, we might have to worry about looters, and the beans would be in danger of being stolen.
That's the currency when the world falls apart.
Right? I said, this is ridiculous. She became mad and said, I'm protecting our beans. According to her logic, the beans are safely buried in the woods behind our apartment complex. And if we ever need them, she will go to the stash and dig up a can or 2, but would prefer if we save them for when things get worse. I said, why did you just bury the beans? Why not our valuables? She said canned food is the most valuable for long-term survival, and that since we get fresh food in our online groceries, it would make most sense to just stockpile the beans, and that she's going to go bury more beans every single week. This is just too insane. And I got upset. I demanded to know, where are the beans? And she refused to tell me. She said, if I knew, she was afraid she would dig them up. She looked me dead in the face and said, I will never jeopardize the beans. I crossed the line and said, you're out of your mind. And she stormed off. And we have not talked since last night. I think that this is completely ridiculous. I mean, who buries beans in the woods? I want to find them and dig them up. But apparently my girlfriend is taking this very seriously. How can I convince her to tell me where the beans are? And do you think I should convince her to get therapy or should I break up with her? I'm so confused. Is this normal for a girlfriend to bury beans? That was the original post.
I don't know how you hide beans, man. Like, well, like, I don't know how you would, like, where are you hiding them? Like, I feel like you would see the freshly dug piece of land.
It sounds safer than infidelity. I mean, if she's hiding beans around, I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Well, my thing is, it's COVID. It's an apartment complex. It's not even okay. It's probably not like the Adirondacks. It's not like a giant set of woods. It's maybe like an acre at the best. Also, it was lockdown, so the neighbor saw her go out with a sack of beans. So I'm thinking she probably was joking, and he took her too serious, and she freaked out and didn't know what to do. And it was just like, I guess I'm stuck. Like, maybe if he calms down, then I'll tell him it was a joke. I cannot see, even in COVID, someone burying 45 cans of beans.
I don't know, man. I worked at the grocery store, and you'd be surprised what I saw people buying during COVID hours, man. It was like a apocalypse. They were charging, trying to get past me. Everything, man. Like, dude, you would be surprised, bro. I can believe this.
I stayed in the back. I didn't want to deal with none of that type of stuff when I was in the grocery store. I ain't having it. No. If I was in the front, they were like, "Hey, can you help me?" I was like, "No."
No. Just no. Help yourself. So 2 days later, this, man. 2 days later, he posted an update. He said, "The following day, I just had to put my foot down. I usually don't put my foot down, but there are rare issues where compromise is out of the question." Why is compromise out of the question? I foolishly decided this was the time. I demanded to know where the beans were buried. I told her she was going to bury beans that I paid for in the woods. I had to move out. What? Wow, this escalated. What? We fought, and I insisted. In hindsight, I should have probably just let it go and created my own stash of beans in the apartment. What?
She'll find them.
Right? Maybe I should have just given her time to cool down about the beans, but I blew it out of proportion. Yeah, it's weird to bury beans in the woods, but why did I have to press it? What's the harm at the end of the day of having a stash of beans? In the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal, but I kept demanding for her to take me to the beans or at least draw me a map, something. Finally, she broke up with me.
A treasure map?
All right.
A treasure map for
Keep
some
your
beans?
Secrets.
She broke up with me over beans. I lost the love of my life because I could not let the damn beans go. I am in disbelief. She moved out. Now, not only am I heartbroken, but I'm paying full rent instead of 50%, which is a huge blow for me.
Oh, shoot. I mean, loyalty. This is the similar story about the red ribbon where the guy couldn't understand why his wife had the ribbon around her neck, except this is a story about her burying beans.
And he still doesn't know where the beans are. He still doesn't know where they are.
You could have got you could have got an investigator. You could have just kept it under the bus and didn't have to talk about it.
Right.
Hire an investigator.
Gone out at night with a metal detector
or something.
All I would find, because it was 30 of each. What was the number of beans in total?
10 of each and 15 cans of chickpeas, so 45 cans.
Dude, I would apartment complex. I feel like I would easily find where someone tried, because that'd have to be a deep hole. Think of how deep that hole would have to be. That so you keep adding.
You'd still look for them? You're like, I had to find them. I'd have to know.
Well, no, I feel like I would take a quick look out the window and be like, there's the beans. Like,
right.
I could pretend to be like, yeah, I'm going to work today, and then just hide in my friend's car.
And find the beans.
And I'm like, there they are. And then she breaks up for me, whatever. She's just like, we had trust. You just had to ask about those beans. I just imagine an argument, just like it's wild.
Is it bad that every time I heard beans, I thought of Beans from Even Stevens? The character,
That one guy.
yeah, my Shia LaBeouf's character used to hang out with all the time. The weird kid, just like she had buried Beans' body somewhere. That's why she didn't want anybody to know. Not that it was actual cans of beans.
All I know is if Apocalypse, if they start looting, if a group of people are looting my house, like where's the beans? Like they kick down the door, like give me the beans.
How do they know about the beans?
Here's your beans. Take them all.
It's like they're all like a week into lockdown. They got on the leather and the armor and everything, and they're just like,
you know that technically Mad Max takes place right now. Like it's set in this time frame.
It's so wild.
Why does every Apocalypse film they always go leathery? You notice that? It's like they always be going the leather route. Like
I was thinking
end of times.
Yeah, I would go full feathers. Like just feathers or something. Just change up something, shake it up a bit. It's like, what's with the guy with the feathers? It was with you with the leather.
It's always like BDSM when it goes to like Apocalypse.
Who all agrees that this was the thing that they need to do? Like, okay, sun's looking a little hot today, and there's haven't been rain for a few months.
Get on the chaps.
You got the chaps. Got like the chap closet, and they're like, well. I've been waiting for this for years. This is so like video survivalists have guns and stuff, and then they got the chaps in the corner. They're like, for safety and protection.
But dude, these beans.
So I'm completely floored. I've never heard of something like that. I don't even know where.
You don't even know where to go. Yeah. Like. I that's my hill to stand on. I have to know where the beats are. But I mean, at least he was able to say in hindsight, I took it too far. I feel like she probably was just like, look, I don't know if I could spend a year, however long we're going to be in lockdown with this dude. He's too intense for me. There's probably something else going on.
Probably.
That she was like, bye, I'm out. I got to go. But still, I will not betray the beans. Like she was just
She would not confess. She would not confess.
No. I feel like he would be less. I feel like he would be less upset if there was a man in the closet. Like, oh, that's no big deal.
But where are my beans, man? Like, have your affair. Where are the beans? Like,
I think that he could handle it better if it was an affair or something. Those beans just really flipped it off the script,
He can't have his chili.
I think people can handle out like normal like tragedies and stuff, but if it's something wild like some beans, you've gone off the deep end with them. They're like, no.
But I hate canned foods, man. I don't like canned foods, bro.
So that would be a good thing for you?
I don't even know. You've seen me try to use a can opener. How little I use canned foods.
Killed a man.
I don't be using. You see me mess up. I was like, how do you do this? Like I was just I don't be eating canned foods, man. That's not the way we move, man. Out here.
I have broken so many can openers because I always try and buy the ones that go on top because they cut underneath the top.
Oh.
And they always get caught on the can and they won't come off. So I've broken like 3 of those can openers.
Am I the can opener expert? I mean, I've never had this issue. I just
when I do need it, I end up just knifing it. Like I end up just knifing it.
I'm like, you're getting all the metal in the blade and stuff. You make some greens. I'm choking on shrapnel.
You see, dude, when I made some canned potatoes, man, I had no can opener in the apartment.
Yeah,
it had to be done.
You had used your bare hands, just like ripping it. My father showed me how to do this, and he just tore it like a phone book.
But I don't like cans, man. I don't like it, dude. It's got frozen or fresh. Frozen or fresh is the only way.
Look, I'm a can man. I have so many cans. You wouldn't even understand, man. I got like
because it's
salmon.
cheap.
I got green beans. I got corn. I got cream corn. I got all that. Mixed vegetables. You know,
He's got it all.
I got it all. We canned up in here.
I don't trust anything that's been sitting in one place for years to come, bro.
We don't use it for a whole year. Maybe like I've said some questionable things like a peanut butter jar that's been in there for like a year, and my dad was like, "I'm gonna make some peanut butter." I'm like, "It's been there for like a long time, man. You want to eat that?" He's like, "Yeah."
But when Nicole was telling this, I forgot it was Reddit for a second.
I
I
thought
thought
this
she was
was.
just
I
telling
thought
me
yeah,
about
making it
your
up,
life.
like making up a
No.
story or something.
No, I thought it was your life. Like you were retelling a situation you went through in life. And then I was like, oh, and then you were like, and then you went into, I was like, okay, this isn't you. This is
This is an interesting novel you're writing. It was like
I'm gonna break up with some man over some beans. Then I just go buy myself some more. I'd be like, I do not have time for this foolishness. All right, this one is about tips. So, I work at a pretty busy, popular seafood restaurant. I just recently got hired about 2 weeks ago and was getting trained at the bar today. After my training session, I was scheduled to serve for the work serving tables for the night between 3 and 4. I had my break. So you need someone else to ring out your food for you. And I asked the takeout specialist at the time. She rang in my order and cashed me out. When I turn around, she tipped herself 20% and said, "Thanks for the tip."
That's something I would
my
do.
cat. She said, with the snarkiest smile on her face. She's 17 years old and she plays travel soccer. Takeout usually doesn't make shit in tips, so they make more hourly. I acted like I didn't care in that moment, but man, that really upset me. It was only $7, but Jesus, that could have gone towards my employee meal for tomorrow or something. Any of the other servers would have kicked her shit in. I just was a dumb situation because after today, I can't bring it up again. Otherwise, I'll look stupid for bitching about just $7. But it sucks. So there was an update to that. And she said, well, here it is. The very much requested update. First of all, I'd like to thank each and every one of you who took the time out of your day to be there for me. I really didn't expect the post to blow up. I was really just venting, and all the love I received in return was overwhelming. I needed it. Every word from every person. So I went in today, and as I was clocking in, I managed to catch the general manager. I asked her if she had a moment, and she said she did. I asked her if there was an unspoken rule where servers had to tip the takeout employees for putting their meal together, and she said no. I explained to her what happened, and she apparently was already made aware. There were a few servers around who heard everything, and they vouched for me and told her about it. She offered me my cash back and explained that the money wasn't my issue, it was the principal. She could be stealing from other employees and guests as well, who knows. My general manager assured me that the issue would be addressed and taken care of. I thanked her for her time and then proceeded to make it a mission of mine to tell the other two managers and ensure everyone was made aware of that what this girl is capable of doing while their backs are turned. They were astonished and totally on my side. They called it what it was, and they had no sympathy for her. It is theft, point blank. They made sure all the managers were made aware of it and reassured me that this would not go unnoticed. This dumb chick also didn't help her case. Managers caught an ear of her speaking to me in a disrespectful manner. All I had to do was make eye contact with them, and there was a mutual understanding that this girl is a problem. I don't like the way this is written. Like, now, as far as her punishment goes, I only know so much. She got written up, she was spoken to in the office, and she ended up getting cut early from her shift. On the way out, she gave me an angry, hissy fit glare. Well, yeah, it looks like you got her fired. I laughed in her face, gave her the same little snarky smile she gave me. And she goes, just so you know, I really don't care where I stand in your life. I laughed again, louder this time, and said, hey, thanks for the tip. Wow. This story had a happy end. I don't find that to be a happy ending.
No, that's like...
No.
What?
That's not a happy ending. You got somebody fired because you didn't, instead of going to her and being like, I couldn't afford that, this, you don't tip on that kind of an order. She basically went and got her fired. Like,
I mean, that is messed up to just be like, to just take a tip yours, even though I would do something like that in my cashiering
I don't
days.
think it would be worth firing. It's just,
I mean, that's stealing. If you're stealing from an employee, that's like a.
But like and you could tell in her tone, like in the way that she wrote that, she has a problem with this girl. Yeah. And like it went from she took a tip I didn't authorize to I'm going to make it out like, oh, you can't trust that girl. She could be stealing from the customers.
Oh,
you need to go. Like that's literally what one of the managers said is, and then she said she went and told other managers that were not involved in this and said, I want to make sure they know what she's capable of when they're not looking. She blew it out of proportion and made it into a situation it wasn't.
Right.
There was no reason for that. She got her money back. It should have ended at that. But instead, she made sure everybody in the place basically thought this girl was super dishonest more than what happened. That was not necessary.
I could, yeah. I can understand.
That's retail, man.
That's something I noticed.
I don't like you. Let me make sure you lose your job. Like,
we're like, I could say so much about, this type of crap people get away with. And then they look at me like, well, you were somewhat better. I'm like, well, I wouldn't be ruthless like that. I'm just being honest. I'm brutally honest. That's it. I'm not cutting corners.
This reminds me of when they all revolted against you at my.
It was hilarious. It was hilarious. It was because I didn't laugh at their jokes. I didn't laugh at their jokes.
So
they thought I was a sociopath.
We worked at the same job. We applied at the same time, got hired at the same time, like a couple of years ago. And this is usually, I don't know why it is this way, but day one they all loved me. They're like, oh yeah, you're the cool guy.
We did
and then
the same thing.
And then they looked at him and they just decided they hated him because he didn't laugh at their lame jokes. And they all revolted against him and kept trying to get him in trouble.
I don't know. I guess what it was, because what he would do if they said a joke, he's like, that's a bad joke. And then they were like, oh, okay, I respect that. And then they were like, hey, what do you think about this? And I would just be like silent. And then they're like, this guy is corrupt to the core. They would be like, hey, good to see you, Awesome. And then they look at me and they're like, oh, it's you.
Dude, they would pull me aside. Your friend over there, he's a little weird, isn't he? I'm like, no.
Does he hurt people? Does he hurt women or something? What's his gimmick? What's the deal? Is he a criminal or something?
They revolted. Much like this post, they revolted, man.
They revolted. And I was like, dude, I don't know what's the deal, but they really want me destroyed. They were like, you know what? If you do this again, I'm reporting you monster, you rapscallion, you beast. And I'm like, okay, do what you want. And they're like, yeah, of course you do what you want. Hey, Austin, what's good with you, man? What's up, brother? You talk about my outfit? Oh yeah, how fat I am? Yeah, I'm going bald. Yeah, of course I am. Give me a hug. I love you. This guy's the best. He always has the best jokes. He don't be cracking jokes or nothing. He just shows up. He's like, forget all of you. All of you guys are trash. He's like, oh, he's just joking around. Then I come in, hey everybody, how's it going on? This sucker right here. You just had to show up. Forget you.
That's the way it goes, man. Retail.
Oh, retail's the worst. I remember when I worked the short period of time I worked at Macy's, my favorite thing is when I would change my hair and then I would go and they'd be like, we really like your haircut. And I was always so confused. And I'm like, did they really not know? And they really did not know that it, like, I'm like, my hair is 4 inches longer than it was yesterday. So like, what do these people, they really did not know. Like one person at one point was like, I just thought maybe there were some clip-in extensions, but
White people don't know. You know white people don't know this.
They were so confused all the time. And finally, I just started telling them what was happening because I was always so annoyed that they would be like, they thought it was like a haircut, or like somebody really one time was like, I just thought you had a really good hairstylist that could do miracles. I'm like, nobody can make their hair grow 4 inches overnight. Like that, like, no, stop just saying you like my haircut.
I've run into the issue now where people who are describing me, you know, if I'm walking through the store and I help somebody out and they can't find me, they can't say black, the black guy. So they're like, yeah, the 45, 60-year-old man, the 45 to 60-year-old man who just helped me out. Who's like, you know, he got a limp to him or something like that. And he's like,
you be dressing old, bro. You can't lie. You be dressing old, dude.
I've just got the soul of it, you know. I so they're like, yeah, the guy that's he got a round face or something. He was wearing some clown shoes or something. It's like, what, the black guy? Yeah, that black, the guy.
I love that they don't want to say black. They're so scared. That's
but other guys would be like, yeah, the black guy. He's like, yeah. And then it's hilarious.
No, white people don't know hair, man. They don't understand.
No, they don't.
They don't know what weave is, bro.
I had to explain it, and I was explaining it to my supervisor, and she was just like, she's like, and how long does it take? And I'm like, well, this one, because I got it done, was 2.5 hours. I was like, but I did it myself before while I watched seasons 1 and 2 of You, and it took 5 episodes because I can't see the back of my head, so I wasn't getting the braids straight. So I had to like undo them and redo them, and then I had to take rests because having your hands up like this for several hours, like it takes a while. I said, so yeah, once I found somebody that had affordable prices, I absolutely went and got it done, because spending 5 hours putting a crochet in is not a fun time. She was like, 5 hours? I'm like, oh, that's nothing. When you actually get the braids or the twists done individually, it's like a good 12 hours, maybe even 2 days. She's like, 2 days? I'm like, have you never seen Friday when she's walking around with her hair?
You asking white people? You gotta expect.
I know. I act like they know.
Don't know anything.
That's because I grew up with white people who knew, but that's just me. I guess I just grew up around the right white people. I want to say the right. I say the right white people, but I almost said the wrong white people.
Dude, the white people I know, they thought Bye Felicia was just a meme. They didn't know the origin of it, they didn't even know, dude. They don't know. You can't expect them to know. Like, white people be upset when I don't know their white people things.
Or the amount of white people who don't know that the new House Party is a remake.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they don't know that? They don't know the original?
And they be like side to side. That's the funny thing. They're like, oh, this other House Party here, but this new one.
And I'm like, wow. I'm like, y'all, that's just, no. I'm like, that actually hurts my soul. Like, those were like, you don't understand how important those movies are to us as Black folks. Like,
I just accept it, you know. It's just something you gotta accept. It's like, you know.
I just remember
I just heard. Oh yeah,
where he was referencing House Party too much. Yep. He was like, I'm not kidding. Like, House Party or this ain't played. Like it was too much going on.
Like, getting played. Like, yeah.
It was like,
I'm in full force today. Like,
this ain't a house party. This ain't no play. Like, it'd be something. I was like, this is too much, man. You gotta stop.
You're like, we got it. All right, the next one. Am I the asshole for taking legal action against my sister-in-law after what she did to my dad's property? I am a 24-year-old woman, and my dad is pretty well off, and he has multiple properties, both in the country I live in as well as back home. Because of this and the fact that my husband and I both have good careers, my sister-in-law always has a snobby attitude towards us and my whole side of the family and tries to mooch off us any chance she gets.
Oh.
When we go out to eat with my husband's side of the family, we are always expected to pay. Oh no. Christmas and birthday, his side of the family expects good gifts. His sister is currently on her 3rd marriage and has 3 children under the age of 10. Her and her husband were looking for a place to host their wedding and approached me about using one of my dad's properties. I was hesitant at first because of her treatment and the fact that she has way she has acted with me in the past. But it's my dad's property after all, so I contacted him and asked him. He said it's my call, but told me 1, I have to have them sign some type of an agreement stating that if there's any damage done, they are liable. 2, they are going to be charged a reasonable fee to use the property. We both agreed that would be $1,500, which is very reasonable considering the size of the house. I told sister-in-law and her husband this, and they asked about a family discount. I told them that was the family discount. Take it or leave it. They signed the agreement and paid. Fast forward 2 days after the wedding. I went over to the house and it's a wreck. Bed sheets are stained. A vase has been destroyed. Alcohol bottles are floating in the pool, etc., etc. I contacted my dad to tell him. He tells me assess the damage and see how much it is. It's about $1,000 worth of damage. My dad contacts my sister-in-law himself and explains to her the damage and what she owes him. She loses her shit and starts going off about how this is bullshit. We're family. She shouldn't be charged. And that we are so well off, we can happily afford to cover the damages. And that if she gives him money, they won't be able to afford their honeymoon. She then calls me up to harass me and starts calling me a bitch who thinks that she's too good for everyone and says, it's a wedding. What do you expect? Sorry, but my people know how to have a good time. My dad gives her 30 days to pay. She has been notified about this. 30 days come and go with no payment. So my dad gets a lawyer and contacts her, explaining how she is being taken to court for non-payment. Her and my mother-in-law have been contacting my husband nonstop, trying to get him to give her the money. What? He refuses because he agrees that what she did was irresponsible and wrong. I had to go and block my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law after they sent me hostile messages and even tried to show up at my house. I feel bad that my husband's relationship with his mom and sister is going to be ruined over $1,000, but I feel like what she did was wrong and she hasn't even apologized. Am I the asshole?
No.
Dude,
Yes.
no. Like, what the fuck?
Oh no,
Like,
I thought it was the other.
yeah, no,
for
like,
the other
you're
person.
not the asshole. You let her rent your dad's property at a discount and she trashed it.
Look,
And then wants you to pay. Like,
you know, some backyard wrestling, whatever wedding this was.
What was going down, man?
Like, that's what I want to know.
Party.
We know how to party. We trashed the place. Like, I've never been to a wedding where they trashed the venue. Like, what and then they're like, you can afford it. You can afford for us to damage your property.
Right.
You know, they were doing this on purpose. They were just like, let's go all out. If the sheets were stained and there was stuff in the pool, man, they were doing this on purpose.
Right. That's the whole, you're rich, you can afford it. I'm going to screw you over because you're rich.
It's just, they were just jealous, man.
Thank you. Because if she was middle class and this was their one property,
yeah,
would they be like, you're richer than me, you can afford it? Is it like, I don't get that mentality. You're rich, you can afford it.
And plus, anything could happen. Like, they could be. You could say that they're rich, but then I've seen so much stuff happen to people financially where things just go great to bad in a matter of days or just like in a day. So like Can't say that. You can't say that.
Right.
This is a blank answer.
You're
I hate
rich.
people that be like this. Like you let them like use your thing, or like you give them the privilege, but then they get mad that you tell them to be careful with it. Like you can ride my car, just don't, do this. Why are you gonna let me use it if you gonna give me all these rules? It's like, no, this is mine. Like
Yes.
I hate when people like get mad at like the rules that you put on stuff that's yours.
I've never heard that. I think that was something very normal with us because we've dealt with a lot of people who we would like offer stuff in the beginning and then they just destroy it, decimate it. It was hilarious just how destroyed things would get. So we were just like, yo, if you break one thing, we're gonna charge you, this much. And they're like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Charges?
Also, if someone asks twice for anything, I don't know. If you like if they ask me for something and then I say no and then they ask again, immediately my mind is just like this is a person, this is an untrustworthy person. I'm like,
or he's
just
like, this is something I must destroy in front of
yeah.
Right.
Depending on the era, man. But like, like if someone says like, even if it's something like, hey, can I use your car? And I'm like, nah. Can I please use your car? I'm like, you didn't accept my answer. I don't trust you. Like that's
Right.
That's how quick my
Like
my
no,
mind
like
goes.
that's a big one for me. If I tell somebody no about something and they don't listen to me, like no, absolutely not. Like you're not gonna get anything from me ever again because
Yeah.
it's weird because I've just recently came across somebody who's been asking for money from me for 7 years on Facebook.
You haven't blocked him yet? I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Dude, block him, bro. I've not seen him since the 9th grade. Block that guy, bro.
I know. I didn't even understand it. I was like, "Oh, hey, bro, what's up?" He's like, "Hey, man, I just need $60." In the beginning, I scroll all the way back to the top, and it was the highest amount. He's like, "I need $300, brother," and he just been progressively getting lower and lower over the 7 years. It's like, "Oh, you got
He's
the
getting
$60."
better in life.
Yeah,
His money's getting up. He doesn't need as much, man.
He's at the $60. I'm like, well, just wait until he asks for $1, then maybe then I could pass him something.
That's like when women get men who keep talking even when they don't respond. You just let them, and you just let it go to see how long they're going to have a conversation with themselves. And sometimes you get dudes who will talk to themselves for like years and just keep having conversations, and you're like, I
would create a narrative, a whole story out of 6 characters talking to
yeah. It's gonna be asterisks in there, man.
Open the door. Hello there, sir. Good day with you. He's like, yes, but you murdered my wife.
Dude, I could never be that lame. I'd be seeing the stuff people post themselves online. I'm like, how did we get this lame as a generation? Like,
where did it go?
I could never be this lame. It used to be like, you gotta be cool. Like, it used to be cool to be cool. Like,
it was the 90s.
Like, you the cool guy.
Right? And,
I wasn't even in the 90s. We were 2000s.
There is no self-awareness. That's the problem. Like people don't understand. They don't realize, and they don't stop and think. Like now, like the biggest thing I hear over and over again is, oh, well, it's the internet. Nobody cares. That's not true. You're posting stuff on the internet going, oh, nobody cares. This is the internet. When here we are making a whole ass fucking episode for YouTube, caring how stupid you look. So that's the thing. Like you're sitting there in your mind going, oh, it's not a big deal. It's the internet. Nobody cares. Clearly people care because you're making yourself look dumb.
It's so crazy. I think everyone is very hyperactive on the internet. They're like, if you you could compliment me all you want, but if you talk about one thing about something, I will die. I will literally die, and you deserve death. And I'm like, okay, all right, yeah. You know?
There's
Yeah,
just- I
man, I
can't-
don't know that I've never seen before that you're trying to tell me to go kill myself. Like, you're like, damn, calm all the way down. It's not that serious.
I was just talking about Pokemon, man. Chill out.
Right?
I don't. There's just like something within me. Like if something is lame, my body just can't do it. It's like lame. It's
He
like
has to let
lame.
it out. He has
Stop.
to-
I
got to
can't do
suppress it.
no, I can't do nothing that's lame, man. And I feel like people might like when I was like, say when I was like, I don't know, 8 or 10, and like I'm 25. So like someone like the 25-year-olds were cool. Like you'd be like, these are the cool guys. But now I'm like, what are the kids looking up to? Because they're all lame now. Like, what is the point,
The
man?
funny thing about it was after I remember that, like when he was like, "Oh, man, you lame," that would correctly rectify the path that they were going. They correct their path is completely diverted. It's
Right, but now they just go, well, haters gonna hate, and then they just keep doing it, and you're like,
it's too
no,
late for him.
no, that was actual constructive criticism.
Nah,
You were
I've saved people's
trying.
whole life trajectories by just being like, this was really lame. You can't be doing this.
There was a guy who was in some. He was doing some wild stuff. He was doing the weirdest dances, and he just wearing, like, I don't know, all this face paint, crazy stuff. You know, it was weird. He was just like, "Hey, man, you got to stop what you're doing." He's like, "Okay." That guy's a lawyer. That man is doing well for himself. Guys on the edge trying to stab people. Who's like, that's lame, bro.
Lame used to carry so much more weight. It just doesn't anymore.
No. You can say the worst thing to people. They're like, I don't care. But then I don't know.
They do care though. They care
do
a lot.
care. It's weird. It's like a double-edged sword of them not caring and then them extremely caring.
My favorite is the person running up and down the halls going, I don't give a fuck. I just don't. Clearly you do, since you are yelling it to the world. I mean, I have a whole group teaching people how to not give a fuck. Like, seriously, like this is an actual life skill. There are actual journals guided journals teaching people how to not give fucks. So while you scream to the world about how you don't give a fuck, you are letting us know how many fucks you give.
That's what I thought every time I listened to Eminem music. Like he would always talk about that. Like, I don't care. But I'm like, you clearly you say this too often on your album. And he was reacting to Christina Aguilera. I'm like, why are you a rapper beefing with Christina Aguilera, man?
Like Kim. He obviously cared a lot about Kim.
Yeah, like I'd be like, this man obviously cares. Like all these albums.
He is literally like the anti-50 Cent. Anti-50 Cent. Where you like, he gets mad and you like, oh, I can do nothing. I don't care. Get bad.
But see, Snoop is the opposite. You can tell that man literally does not give a fuck. Which is how, when he got arrested for murder, we were like, yeah, probably not. No, I don't think he cares enough to commit murder. Like, no,
and
not that
90s Snoop murder was the case. 90s Snoop was a different era.
But that
Death
was
Row, Row Snoop, that was a whole.
We were like him. Are you sure? Are you sure you got the right one?
Dude, like, 187 on an undercover cop Snoop. That was a different era, man.
We were like
stop sign. Look at you.
But 2000 Snoop, when he became like commercial Snoop, that was like, nah. But hey, 90s, that's why Snoop has had the wildest career. You went from gangster rapper to like, he's everything, man.
It's
also, Ice Cube went from gangster rapper to family movie star. So
yeah,
I feel like everybody from 90s rap had this look. Everybody,
I mean,
Diddy
that's the way it should be though, because you can't be 50 still. Like, you can't be acting this way at this age. You can't. At the age that's like if Ice Cube was still that way at the age of 50, that'd be lame. It'd be like, that's lame, man. You can't be doing this still.
See, that's why Suge Knight's in jail, because He's lame, okay?
If you have millions, like, dude, if I got millions of dollars, well, first, I've never understand why people get millions and then still stay in the hood. If I got millions, I would never return. I would get food from the hood delivered to my house, but like, you would never see me there. I would never go there if I had millions of dollars, man. That's just not the way.
Like, yeah, I don't. Well, because they feel like they have responsibility to the neighborhood.
You can help them from afar. You can.
You ain't gotta live there.
You don't have to go there. You don't even have to go there. You could Zelle, PayPal them some money. It doesn't matter, man.
When I get that money, things are gonna go wrong.
You can open a business in the hood and never go to that business.
Yeah,
or
like, hey, you run the show. You know, I can do the funding. I can do.
I'll just open a food pantry.
Postcards from Buster, just distance, distant relatives. You know.
All right. How about? All right. This is not a good. I was gonna say good. It's not good. Am I the asshole for grounding my daughter for leaving her sister with the neighbors? I am a single mother of 3 kids. Polly, who's 16-year-old girl, Trevor, a 12-year-old boy, and Cassie, an 8-year-old girl. I have little to no support. Their father left after Cassie was born. I have no family nearby. I have 2 sitters I call on as needed, but I usually ask Polly for help. I don't want her to miss out on her teen years, but sometimes I can't help it. Before this incident, I only ever asked her to babysit once or twice because I have no one else, and I pay her $15 an hour. This past Saturday, Polly was supposed to hang out with friends. For a couple of days, Trevor was sick, but he was not sick with COVID. That day, he spiked a fever, and I took him to the ER. I asked Polly to watch Cassie as the sitters were not available. I apologized that she was not going to be able to hang out with her friends, but I did pay her so she could have her friends over at our house. Polly pitched a fit and asked why I couldn't just send Cassie to hang out with the neighbors. We don't know them. They only moved in last month, and outside of waving at them when I get the mail, I don't know them. Polly was irritated, and I told her I'd pay her $18 instead of $15 and that I had to go. I took Trevor to the ER, and we waited a bit. Polly kept asking if the sitters responded, and they hadn't. Eventually, it was our time to be seen, so I told Polly I'd be out of reach for a minute. Turns out Trevor had a case of RSV, and due to pre-existing health problems, he had to be admitted. I was terrified. I called Polly to update her, and I heard people talking in the background and said, "Oh, so you did have your friends come over?" She told me no. She dropped Cassie at the neighbors and went. I was furious. I told her to go home and get her sister. I then asked for the neighbor's number, and she didn't even get it, which I guess is basic teenage logic, but still. At first, Polly refused until I told her she was grounded. I made her FaceTime me when she got home to show that Cassie was with her. Eventually, my mom was able to make the 2-hour drive to stay with the girls, but I told her not to let Polly leave the house. The next day, Trevor and I were able to go home. I lectured Polly about what she had done, and I grounded her for 2 weeks. She got mad at me and said that I couldn't expect her to drop all of her plans. I pointed out that I never do, but this was an emergency, and her brother was sick. She told me that that's not her problem. Wow. She also was mad because she felt that because I won't pay her. Because remember, she offered to pay her twice. I apologized profusely to the neighbor who said it was okay and that he would have called me, but Polly didn't leave my number with him either. My daughter thinks I have overreacted. Am I the asshole?
Well, this is like a 15 or 14-year-old, so this is just how kids act. So I can't really, like, if this was like a 20-year-old doing this, I would be like, this is out of the ordinary. But I don't really expect much from like a 14 to 15-year-old. But I mean, she did wrong because whatever the parent says, that's what goes down. But like, I don't like parents I don't like parents that leave the responsibility. Yeah. But I don't like parents that leave the responsibility of like take it like being a mom, like being a parent to the younger sibling. Like, I mean, it's if that naturally becomes the role, that's cool. But I don't
Right.
know.
Like one
It
night,
shouldn't.
like
Yeah.
watch your one of two of siblings for one night,
Yeah.
and the kid, and she offered to pay her twice in order to do it. Like double. She said she paid her ahead, she gave her money ahead of time so she could have her friend over. And then she offered to pay her additionally when she got back. So her friend, that was the other thing. Her friends could have come over. She
Yeah.
still would have been able to see them. So me personally, look, if I'd have taken my siblings and abandoned them with a neighbor, I'd have gotten my ass beat no matter how old I was. So I think 2 weeks grounding is beyond fair. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. This is you don't leave your like sick younger sibling, but I mean at the same time, like this is a reason you don't like as a parent you don't leave your child with another child. Like,
right.
Like you can't be like
that
like
teenage,
I'm
gonna get my way no matter what. Let me just leave this kid with these strangers that I have not even been introduced to.
Yeah, I mean, but it could have been a lot worse. Those strangers.
They could have been weird neighbors. They could have been waiting for that moment, been doing the Birdman hand.
They could have dressed up in something wild, and they're like
furry neighbors,
leather neighbors. Imagine if she would have went over there and they were playing. They had a furry night, like
Five Nights at Freddy's or something in real life.
Like she's lucky they were okay neighbors, but
they
like,
could have been like warlocks or something where they dress up as wizards and like you shall not pass this domain.
Like she could have gone over the D&D night, you know,
real life D&D night where they actually kill wild stuff, and the kid's like the victim of this.
But yeah, like the kid did wrong, but it doesn't matter because I feel like this is also on the parent because you can't depend on, you can't ever, I mean, it's nice if your kid is going to do that, but like you can't depend on a 14 or 15-year-old to make responsible decisions with another child, like
rational decisions.
Yeah, like you have to expect it. Like this is just hire an adult or like it's just this how it is.
I think I probably wouldn't have trusted my kid. I'd have been like, fine, stay here and sulk. I'll take this one with me and deal with you when I come back. Because I know I was an asshole when I was a teenager. So I would have been like, what would I have done as a teenager? Oh, I wouldn't have been trusted. Okay, come with me. Like, I can't trust y'all.
I just know if this was me in my shoes, I would have stayed because I know what would be happening if I did.
Oh yeah, I would. But I mean, I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest in my family. So.
I know personally that I would not make it if I did something wild like that. If I was with you, bro, and I was like, hey, we gotta go. I gotta go back to the house. Like, I gotta go right now.
Dude, I was trusted to be left alone because I was too scared to even have a party because I knew what would happen. Like, I knew what the consequences were. I was like, absolutely not. I am not trying. I'm all set. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, we knew that. See, the thing about house party, like, you knew that kid was willing to either he didn't get the beatings that bad or he had never gotten one yet.
He doesn't know the meaning of consequences.
Right. Like, because most black kids don't throw parties the way they show in movies because
they'll do it cautiously. Like,
right.
Their head turned. I know she's gone, but I just feel like she's still there. Like,
right, because you catch a beating and you're gonna be homeless. They're gonna be like, "Oh, you want to disrespect my house? Well, then you won't be living in it." Like, it's a whole other situation. Yes, it's very different.
Grab your face and spin it upside down and just wild stuff.
All right, so
children be doing this, man.
Yes, this one is gonna make y'all the next couple of ones is gonna make y'all cringe hard. Ooh. Am I the asshole for flaunting my wealth in front of my niece? Mm-hmm. To provide some context to you guys, my 40-year-old husband, and I am 40-year-old as well, and I have 2 children together. This has to do with my oldest child, Maria, who is 18. My husband and I are very much upper middle class and live a very comfortable life. Still,
I
this
love
being
the
said,
voice you're reading this in.
the upper middle class white lady voice.
That's the voice of this character.
Yes, he has to distinguish between just being normal middle class and comfortable. Still, this being said, we both agreed that we don't want our children to grow up not knowing what hard work is. Both my children have part-time jobs. If they want something, they need to save up their money and get it, as this way they would appreciate it. Maria has been doing amazing in school lately. She just got accepted into her dream university to study computer science, just like her father and I. She's currently working part-time. When she was 17, she bought her first car with the money she saved from her part-time job. She pays her own insurance and everything. She's very independent and never asked my husband and I for anything. So we wanted to do something nice for her. She mentioned a while ago that she really wanted this bag and was planning to save up for it. The bag goes for around $2,000. Knowing this, my husband and I decided to surprise her with it for an early graduation gift. She was very, very grateful for this bag. Last weekend, we went to my father-in-law's birthday dinner at his house. Maria wore her bag. We really didn't think anything of it. My sister-in-law and niece, who's also 18, attended as well. I all of a sudden hear a bunch of shouting from upstairs. So I go up the stairs to see what's wrong. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law follow me. Maria is standing outside the bathroom, clearly upset. My niece had taken the bag from where we leave our jackets, and Maria realized she had locked herself in the bathroom. Sister-in-law tells Maria to stop overreacting and wait for niece to come out. I tell sister-in-law to tell her child to open up the door and give Maria her bag back. Sister-in-law refuses and doesn't see what the big deal is. I call my husband, who starts having a go at my sister-in-law after he finds out what's going on and grabs something to pick the lock on the door with. We get the door open and my niece is refusing to give the bag back because she wants it. My husband tells her to hand it over twice. He refuses, so he grabs it from her with force. Sister-in-law starts losing her shit, saying, "Do not snatch things from my daughter." I tell her to piss off and get her daughter under control. She calls me an asshole for letting my daughter flaunt her designer bag in front of her. My mother-in-law took sister-in-law's side and said it was inconsiderate of Maria to bring the bag here when my niece doesn't have one and can't relate with it. I called them all unhinged. My husband and I left. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law have been contacting my husband, demanding we apologize, and that if Maria wants to wear expensive stuff around my niece, to make sure we give one of whatever it is to my niece. Am I the asshole?
I got to say, both people in this scenario are lame.
Everyone
is lame.
Everybody stops here. What the hell was that? That took a turn I was not expecting. What the?
I mean, it's messed up that she took the bag, but at the same, her attitude is really lame overall.
Like, I'm glad that your daughter's paying for herself, but at the same time, you bought her a $2,000 bag and expected everybody in your family would not notice or care. And but then who locks himself in a bathroom with a purse and refuses to come out until you give them one? Like,
it's a hostage technique, man. They had to negotiate with the hostage.
They took a purse hostage. Like, I don't understand.
I've had that situation at my job, and it was pretty wild. That's all I got to say.
Like they were trying to shoplift and got caught.
Well, yeah, they were like, "I'm not leaving the bathroom until I take this home, or you give me a discount." I'm like, you're not getting any of that, man.
But I don't like, if I roll up to like my families that aren't doing too well, if I roll up in like a Balenciaga sweatshirt that costs like, not that I have one, but if I roll up in a $3,000 Balenciaga sweatshirt, I like. Are they supposed to yank it off my back and get offended? Let me floss, man.
I think it would be
Let me me.
applause than it was be like a jealousy or something.
Yeah,
I would never imagine your family getting jealous. Your father being like, "No way, Jose."
Like if I came to my family's house with a bag that expensive, my mother would roll her eyes and just be like, "Why?"
I mean, if you got it,
she'd be like, "You could have put that towards a down payment on a house." That would be my mother's response. She would just roll her eyes and be like, "That could have gone towards a down payment." She'd be like, "You can buy stuff like this after you own a home." That would be my mother's response. Like,
after you own a home,
you can spend money like this on shoes and bags. Like that's what. And she does have a point because there are some purses that cost the equivalent of a down payment on a house, $20,000. I honestly, when she was talking about expensive bags, I thought she was going to be like it was Hermes and you know like it was going to be like a $20,000 purse, but 2,000 is still probably like a Brahmin. It's probably like a Brahmin or something like that. All right,
have
this
you seen
is
the
one,
Balenciaga? That's over the top.
You mean the Balenciaga, like the child? Yeah, I'm all set.
I mean, anything Balenciaga. It's like it'll be like a white shirt that's $5,000, man.
They're the high fashion equivalent of Supreme is what they are. Like they sell like dirty jeans and like blackface sweaters and like they just are there to be offensive and then sell like they have like paperweights that are like ordinary household items. They really are the high fashion version of Supreme. They're just there to either be offensive or just sell normal stuff. They're ridiculous. Like, yeah. Balenciaga's, yeah. I will never get it.
Oh no, if I had the money, I would buy it just to have
you
it.
would you have bought the Supreme bolt cutters?
If I had a bunch of disposable income, just not even because I care, it'd just be like
I keep saying I'm waiting for somebody, right? Like I'm waiting for some streetwear line to do do-rags and satin bonnets and charge $500. Then I will know.
White people are gonna get those.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and not know what they are.
And when 50 Cent had white people wearing wave caps and do-rags, man, that was a terrible era. They had white people with do-rags on, man.
I can understand it.
White ladies have started wearing satin bonnets, so times have changed. Like they understand the merits of the satin bonnets. So the world has come full circle, guys. All right, so this one, I read this one. This y'all is gonna make your blood boil. Am I the asshole for stealing my child's birthday money? Last week, it was my son's 10th birthday. I am a 36-year-old man. We threw a party for him with lots of extended family. Both me and my ex-wife, who's 35, have very large families. And since my son is older, I instructed them to gift him money rather than toys, so that toys that he won't use. I also thought this would be a good learning opportunity to teach him about financial responsibility. No one had any issue with this, and so they all gave him cash. The party went well. We all had a great time, and by the end of the day, my son had ended up with quite a lot of money. I told him the amount, and he seemed excited. We cleared up and went to pay it into the bank. Side note, I'm a bit of a collector. I collect vintage cereal boxes and have done this since my 20s. I've amassed quite a collection over the years, and it's worth lots. I hope to use part of it to pay for my son's college tuition. That evening, I stumbled across a 1963 Post-Toasties cornflakes box, which would complete my 63 core collection. It was one I'd been after for a while, but had never been able to buy before. So naturally, I was excited. The price was just over the amount my son had been given for his birthday.
Oh, no.
I thought it over, And given that this would complete the major aspect of my collection and would boost the value as a whole, I decided to kill two birds with one stone by using this to teach my son about investment while also providing for his future. I told my son I had something to show him and called him into my office. I explained that this box was going to go up in value and would pay for his college one day, his birthday present this year. I bought the box and he thanked me. A couple days later, I received a call from my ex asking for some of the birthday money. Apparently, my son had asked for a Lego set. When I explained that there was no money, my son already knew this, she was furious and is now accusing me of stealing from our child. I don't think I have done anything wrong, as I was just providing for my son and teaching him an important life lesson. Am I the asshole?
He just wanted his cereal.
Thank you.
First off, if you collected cereal box, you lame. I don't care how much they were.
And you questioning the sanctity of like your son's like money, and you're like, this 1973 cereal box is pretty appetizing.
Right, let me see how much the cereal box costs. A Toasty 60. What does they say? A Toasty 63. Let's see how much this box costs. 63.
It can't be worth it, man.
All I gotta say is if it was stolen, I'm like, hey, you gotta pay me back eventually. Like, I'm not gonna get no college tuition or crap. I just give me the money for something.
Were your parents the type of parents where if you made money, like I got to take, well, you be paying the bill. You was paying the bills at your house.
Let's just say there was one person that was taking at least 25% of the gifts.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Like they would like he stole from his kids to supplement his box collection.
Yeah, his box collection.
It says that's it. He's trying to justify it by saying, "Oh, I'm I'm gonna pay for my kids. Oh, it's expected to go up in price over it's $2,500. $2,500.
On a cereal box?
I'm surprised.
I would rip that cereal box in half, dude, like in front of him.
That's not the point. But that's worse. He took $2,500 from a 10-year-old. From a 10-year-old. Like, great. You put your collection together, but what does that say to your kid? You basically just told your kid that your cereal box collection is worth more than he is.
Yeah, literally. And that's why I would tear it in half.
Nah, if I was the mom, I'd have waited until you were out. I'd have gone in there. I would have taken a handful of those boxes and I'd have sold them.
But do you know the cereal marketplace like that?
I don't care. I would have found a way.
Do you know the market?
Did you see the Netflix documentary about the guy who started selling cereal boxes and then figured out that Pez dispensers were more money, and he was doing backroom deals to get Pez dispensers that weren't available in the U.S. I was like, I didn't know it was this serious. I just thought they were Pez dispensers. Damn. I didn't know people were willing to do illegal shit to sell. Like, damn.
No, it just seems wild. That's like collecting clipboards, man.
But you and me, they're just cereal boxes. But to other people, like it's a thing.
I could never own a collection of anything. When I had too many Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I was like, I gotta get rid of these. I gotta let them go.
Collectors are like a very specific breed of person. Like, I tried to collect stuff and I can't do it. I just can't.
You get that primal feeling when somebody gets near something, you know it's gonna drop. You start getting vicious, and I'm like, nah, I can't live this life. No.
Well, it's not even that. It's the hunting stuff down. It's the trading with people. It's to try and complete your collection. I don't have the patience. I just don't.
I could see a movie where it's like a cutthroat movie about just collecting cardboard boxes. It's just I kill you, bro. I kill you.
If there was an intact cardboard box from like the 1800 or something. I feel like that'd be worth a lot of money. Some old cardboard.
Yeah.
This was George Washington's cardboard.
But
Like
yeah,
something.
something wild like that. They're like, just stabbing people over.
You know what I think is probably got to be one of the most sought after ones is probably a box from Peppo's. Probably the cereal that had amphetamines in it.
No, I don't know. I didn't know about that. I know I'm looking for Waffle Crisp every second of the day.
Yeah, he is looking for Waffle Crisp.
Probably stuff like that from like the 50s, super obscure. All right, I had to throw a wedding one in here.
Okay.
Because these are always absolutely insane. So, am I the asshole for telling my mom if she wants to plan a wedding, go get remarried? This is already great. I'm a 32-year-old female, and I recently started planning my wedding with my fiance.
Oh, she's one of those moms. Oh.
My mom immediately jumped up to help us. I thought at first that'd be okay, but she will call the vendors and venues that she likes and give them my information so they'll call me about a scheduled time. And my mom will swoop in and say, it will be rude not to go since they already invited you. She recently showed up with a massive binder of different ideas she wants. It's exhausting. At every step, she will insist on looking at her ideas. And when we reject them, she throws a fit and tells me that I don't love her because I ignore all her wishes. I also want to add that I think she's had it in her head since I was a child that she would plan my wedding. Even before I came out and dated men, she'd comment on how excited she was for the wedding. So she's saying that even before she knew whether or not they're both women. So it's two women getting married. So even before she came out and when she was still dating men, she said she would be planning her wedding. So she's been having it in her head my whole life. When I told her, right? When I told her my fiance proposed, she immediately started berating me about when we'd have the wedding planning started, and because she wanted to help us. Part of it is that when she married my dad, it was just a small courthouse affair because she was pregnant at the time and never got a proper wedding. My dad also died 17 years ago, and she dates sporadically, but never for longer than a few months. The last time me and my fiance went to see a venue, she tagged along and made all these horrible comments about how gross everything was, pointing out all the tiny things that were wrong with everything. The person showing us around was getting annoyed. My fiance was also getting annoyed. She eventually said, well, if this were my wedding, I'd never even consider this dump, despite it being absolutely beautiful and within our budget. I snapped. I told her if she wanted a wedding so badly, she could just get remarried. It was cruel, I know, but I was tired of her trying to have her perfect wedding through me. My fiance thinks I'm not at fault, but the rest of my family does. Am I the asshole? But she actually edited and added, I'm answering some questions. Is she paying for the wedding? No. Why don't you set boundaries with her? We have, but she doesn't listen. She'll cry and she'll guilt me until we let her back in.
Oh,
and
well.
then she posted, wait, there's an update. Update. Hello, everyone. And there's actually a couple updates. So I took some advice and I had to sit down, and our wedding planner is a saint. They had no problem setting up passwords with the vendors like people suggested in case she tried to change things. We then invited my mom to dinner and told her she had to stop trying to help us. It started off bad as she brought the binder with her and her old wedding dress.
Oh no, she's trying to live it. She is
trying to relive it. Daughter.
Her dress is in very bad condition. It would not fit either me or my fiance and is quite frankly hideous. I would never say this to my mother's face though, and I have told her every time she asks that I want my own dress and that she should just keep hers in case she ever gets remarried. She assumed that we invited her to apologize and let her plan the wedding however she wanted.
Wow.
How she came to that conclusion, I have no idea.
That really
We
hurts.
lied about not wanting her to get overly stressed in the hope she would take it better than telling her she's been causing too many problems. She did not take it well. She started crying and saying all she ever wanted was for me to have the perfect wedding and that she'd already given up on getting the perfect son-in-law and the perfect grandchildren. So
Oh,
the least we could do is let her plan the perfect wedding. That stunned us both, as she has never said a bad word about me liking women. Not when I came out, not when I had my first girlfriend, and not when my fiance and I got engaged.
They can still have kids. Doesn't
Right?
matter.
Oh my god.
Apparently, she has decided that it would not count if we adopted or if my fiance carried a child because biologically it's not going to be her grandchild. I can't carry children because I have health issues. Me and my fiance have agreed that if we ever do have kids, it's not going to be for another couple of years, which apparently is not good enough for my mother, as she wants us to pop out grandchildren yesterday. This put me over the edge. I told her she is not going to plan anything. She's a guest and nothing more, and I'm cutting out her speech. She has behaved like a child. Then she started a full-on tantrum, so me and my fiance paid and left her to cry and scream in the middle of the restaurant. That was all fine and dandy until our florist called us to tell us my mom had called to try and get the flower arrangements changed. I called her and she tried to lie until she realized she was backed into a corner and admitted doing it because she knew what was best and was just trying to help. Needless to say, I have now uninvited her from the wedding with the full support of my fiance and my son and my mother-in-law. It gets worse.
Oh my gosh.
I'm done. I'm just so done. 3 months of hell. But finally, me and my wife are married. Not once did my mom think of me and what I wanted. She wouldn't stop trying to call my vendors and get things changed or trying to guess all my passwords. At one point, we had to change our passwords every single week to random things just so she wouldn't be able to guess them.
Oh my god.
We didn't post the date anywhere and couldn't even put it on the invitations.
She would have popped up.
Yeah, because the guests, we wanted to make sure the guests wouldn't share the date and the location.
Oh my gosh.
Yet somehow she figured out both.
Oh no.
We even told her the stress was too much and we were going to wait until the summer or later to get married. And she screamed at us, telling us we were horrible and canceling just to spite her. We blocked her phone number and even reduced the wedding budget to hire security. Thank fucking God we did. And gave them pictures of her because she found out the date, the time, and the location and showed up in her motherfucking wedding dress and demanded to be let in because it's her wedding. I am beyond done.
Wow.
As I am typing this, my wife and I are waiting on our plane to go home after our honeymoon. We have started looking into job openings in our apartments that are 6 hours away because my mother has taken to sending us letters calling me a horrible daughter. She's even been sending packages that are piles of pictures from when I was a child, when I used to love her unconditionally, including notes as to why I don't love her anymore and why I banned her from my wedding, how excited she was, and how it was right for her as a mother. She has tried to guilt me.
Oh my gosh.
She's cursed me out. I thought she would give up eventually. No. I want to know why she's acting like she's in so much pain. She is such a pain in my ass. I told her that me and my wife beginning to plan the wedding. My best friend who's been house sitting got the honor of opening all of these packages and sending us the contents. She hand delivered the first one the day after the wedding while we were on the plane. I know because the Ring doorbell caught that and all the other ones that she delivered as well. I'm fuming. I'm pissed and I'm screaming because what the fuck? She tried to ruin my wedding. My own mother tried to ruin my wedding and is trying to make me feel bad. She tried to plan a wedding. She threw a tantrum when I asked her not to. Then she tried to sabotage my wedding and crashed it. But sure, I'm the problem. Wow.
Okay. This is the story of a Batman supervillain. Like, what the freak? Did she have like an experience where she fell in a tank of acid and, and just become obsessed with this?
The fact that she showed up in her wedding dress. Like, what the fuck?
I'm like,
just attend other weddings. There's got to be other weddings.
Did you endure?
The packages, though, while she's on her honeymoon of better times when you used to love me.
She's gonna become a villain. Her villain name is just like the bride or something.
Oh.
Like the wedding.
The mother-in-law. The mother-in-law.
The wedding planner or something.
God.
It's like, we meet again, Batman.
Right.
And we're getting married. And just like, your days of marriage is ending today. We're having a divorce. And
That'll be Batwoman's villain is the mother-in-law.
The rogue gallery. Yes, the mother-in-law.
Dude.
You're not even related. And she's just, we're planning a wedding. And you will die. Wow.
This is what a lot of, especially like mothers that are single, when their like daughters get married, they like make it all about them, and it's terrible, man. They're trying to live out their experience like that they missed out on or they want. It's like the dad that like forces their son to excel in sport because they're trying to live out their whole like sports fantasy, like. Yes. Like, they're all extreme about it. Like, you better get to practice. You better be the one on the.
That was a pretty bad example.
But she's like, the wedding. I love that she had a giant binder. Like, she planned the wedding. She already had the plan. I'm like, I was like, oh my God. Like, I would
throw this binder.
She would burn up in flames or something. Like, it was a part of her soul. No!
That's her weakness.
What have you done?
The binder is her weakness.
My soul is bind to the binder. Just
all of that was just
fulfilling a ritual or something. I must finish your wedding. It's just wild. Yikes.
Yes. Ugh. One left. I think this one is worse. So this one, I obviously can't talk about this with any of my friends or my mom. But then I saw a post about Reddit on TikTok, and I thought it would be the perfect place to talk about this. I'm also going to post this in a couple of different places, and based on what comes up, figure out what is the best place. Finally, I know you guys are going to judge me, but at least try and understand my side. I'm a 34-year-old woman. Several months ago, I had a messy breakup with my long-term boyfriend. So I moved in with my best friend and her husband in a house we're all renting together. It was then that I met my neighbor, who we will call Kay. He helped us move our stuff in, and immediately I was just smitten. We live in the suburbs of a major city, so we both ended up taking the train to work at the same time every day. Yes, I know Kay has a wife and kids. He talks about them often and has pictures of them on his lock screen and his social media. However, initially it started out very innocent, just a silly crush. But he's handsome and he's funny and he's sweet. And the first time we rode the train, he asked me about my job, and he seemed genuinely interested in what I was saying, which is something that my ex just never did. And it's something that we fought about. He's always doing stuff for his kids, like bringing them treats. And, she's describing a dad, right? Like, I just have to stop. And now she's describing a dad. Okay.
Hey, that gets, if you do anything with a child, like say you like lift a child up, the girls will swarm you.
Right. They're like, oh my God, he's such a while the rest of the world is like, he's just being a dad, calm down. Like,
dude, that's the best technique if you want to like pick up women. Just be around be good with the child, and they will like they're gonna be on you, man.
All right. And she's like, and bringing them stuff and staying on the phone with his older daughter the entire ride to work because she needed a pep talk. It's just so easy to imagine how lovely and attentive Kay would be with me because he's like that with everyone else. Kay has never said or done anything to imply he has feelings for me yet. But we are genuinely friends by now because we talk on the train, which is 20 minutes almost every weekday. I've never had trouble getting the attention of men. And with this basis we already have, I know that we easily could become something more. I also learned shortly after I developed feelings for him that his wife is someone I went to school with. And I was surprised because they're like polar opposites. He's funny, she's dry. He's exciting, she's cautious. He's a little dumb, she's very smart. Look, she's like yikes in the look department. I just don't think that their personalities fit very well. And I can easily see Kay getting stuck in a relationship because he's just such a nice person. The issue is yesterday evening, Kay knocked on my door and asked if I could watch his kids. This was, of course, no trouble, and I said yes right away. He told me
to be the new mom.
Right? He told me his wife was in a car accident while she was on a business trip, and because she's pregnant, he was super worried and decided to book the next flight to go see her. They don't have family in the state currently, so he asked me to keep an eye on his kids for a couple hours while family comes to get them. Now, here's the issue. The kids were a nightmare. There are 3 girls. The oldest is your bratty preteen, but times 1,000. She was rude. She didn't respect my authority. She was arguing with me about everything from dinner, about what to clean up to, about what movies she was allowed to watch. I even heard her call me a bitch under her breath a couple times. And the middle one was rowdy and constantly playing messy games, even when I told her no. And the younger one was mostly sweet, but then she would join in with whatever drama the middle one was creating. I agreed to play hide and seek with the younger 2, and they locked me out. When I was trying to get back in, I tried to talk to the older one, but she just pretended she couldn't hear me and put on her headphones. Thankfully, the family friend arrived a few minutes later and let me in, and I went home. This makes me sad because before now, I would often dream about being a stepmom to Kay's children one day.
To a married man.
Because of how highly he talked about them. Now I want nothing to do with them. But at the same time, this is further proof that Kay and his wife are not happy because children from happy homes do not behave like, wow, this woman has definitely never been around children. I just want to have a relationship with Kay, but I do not know if this is going to be possible because his kids and I do not get along. And this is even before a potential divorce where their mother could easily get them to hate me. I really love Kay, and I know she does not know this man. And I know that we could have a beautiful relationship if I pursued this. But this has really shaken me. I just wish I could have someone to talk to about this, but everyone in my life would judge me. What the hell, man? So in the comments further down, she is responding by saying, because people are ripping her apart, obviously. And she says, how do you know whether or not I love him? Are you in my head? You can love someone before being in a relationship. And just like I don't know you for sure, and you don't know for sure he loves me, but you don't know for sure he doesn't. You never know until you cross that bridge. I know he wouldn't drop everything and run away with me. There would be months and even years of a divorce court and custody arrangements, etc., if he decides to leave his wife. And before the comments come in, yes, I know there's no guarantee he's going to do that because he's a good and honest man. If anything is going to happen between us, he would absolutely leave his wife first because it wouldn't be fair to either of us. He told me he believes strongly in fairness. That's why I'm asking, because I know this could be messy if anything does happen. I just want to know if his kids being difficult will make things worse if it does happen. I want to know if the potential pros outweigh the cons. But then she gets a text from him. Thank you for watching the girls. She says, of course, anytime. And then it says, he found the post. Is this you?
No. Oh no. Oh no. She need to lie. She needed to be like, this was not me at all.
And he says, because if it is, we need to talk. I absolutely promise you, I have no interest in leaving my family for you. I'm sorry if I ever gave you the wrong idea, but I don't see you as anything more than a neighbor. And I don't think we can be friends anymore. And she's just like, wait, can I call you? And he's just leaving her on red.
You need to leave her on blocked. You need to leave her alone.
The delusion was real though. She's like, I love him. Do you know what's in his head? You don't know he doesn't love me.
This is like a movie. This is a thriller. This is a Netflix thriller, dude.
She was like, you don't know he doesn't love me. Like,
literally.
I thought that she was gonna be like 20, but she's a 34-year-old grown woman planning her wedding to a man she's just met. Like,
it's when people be behaving like this, like they'll see someone that's like, in a relationship or like married, and they're like, they're never like, I want someone like that. They're just like, I want them. Like they go straight to them.
It's so
they're
weird.
Never like, you know what? I want someone that's like that. Nah, they want them.
It's so weird. I'm like, yeah, that seems somebody that's like really nice, and I hope to do, no, that person is definitely for me. I will do everything in my power for them to make them love me.
And I don't think people take into consideration that it's people are different with different people. They could be great with that person, but you could get them and they'd be a whole different person.
Yeah.
Yes, they will. I've seen that flip the script. Just wildness. Guy's an athlete, turns into a shut-in, just like that.
Reddit is full of stories about that. I married my wife and she was gorgeous and a model, and a year later she's gained 100 pounds and she's not the woman I married. Well, then you shouldn't have married her for being a model.
I've seen this situation where the guy was literally pretending who he was and who he looked like. Because the guy turned out to be like a completely balding, obese man and all of this. Now, how he did it, girdled it up.
Prosthetics up in here?
Prosthetics. Did the whole Big Mama's house, but for like handsome men equivalent. just duped her for 7 months straight.
I mean, yeah, they have male girls for a reason. Like, for, I guess, dudes who don't want to work out and are still vain. So that doesn't surprise me.